The sun was just breaking over the Atlanta skyline, casting a golden glow across the city's glass towers and sprawling streets. Marcus Evans stepped out of his beat-up Toyota Corolla, parked a block from Pinnacle Trust Bank, and smoothed the lapels of his charcoal blazer. At 38, he carried the quiet confidence of a man who'd clawed his way up from nothing. 6 feet tall, broad-shouldered, with a steady gaze that spoke of late nights and hard-won victories. Today wasn't just another day, it was a turning point. His palms were sweaty, but his heart thumped with purpose as he grabbed his worn leather satchel from the passenger seat. Inside was his pitch deck for Rise and Grind, a mobile coffee truck business he'd built from scratch 2 years ago. It wasn't just about lattes, it was a lifeline for black teens in Atlanta's toughest neighborhoods, teaching them barista skills, customer service, and the grit to show up on time. Marcus had big plans. With demand spiking and a vision to franchise across Georgia, he needed $75,000 to buy 2 more trucks and hire staff. His 9:30 a.m. meeting with Linda Carver, the branch manager at Pinnacle Trust, was his shot. He'd scraped together every dime from his $50,000 a year operation to get here, and the stakes felt higher than ever. As he walked the 200 yards to the bank, the gleaming 20-story building loomed ahead, a symbol of wealth that could either crush his dreams or lift them skyward. The lobby hit him with a blast of cool air and a faint lavender scent, a stark contrast to the muggy 80-degree heat outside. Floor-to-ceiling windows bathed the space in light, highlighting sleek furniture and a polished granite counter where a receptionist sat typing. Marcus approached her with a warm smile, his voice steady despite the butterflies in his gut. "Good morning," he said, setting his satchel on the counter. "I'm Marcus Evans, here for a 9:30 with Linda Carver." The receptionist, a woman in her late 20s with a name tag reading Emily, barely glanced up. "Evans, huh? You're on the list. Take a seat over there." She waved toward a row of cushioned chairs near a potted fern, her tone flat and disinterested. Marcus nodded and settled in, the hum of the HVAC blending with the murmur of voices around him. He was early, always was. His dad's voice echoed in his head. "Punctuality's respect, son. For yourself and whoever's waiting." He pulled out his pitch deck, flipping through pages of photos. Kids in aprons steaming oat milk, smiling customers at the truck's window, a spreadsheet showing steady profits. He'd poured his soul into this, and the numbers didn't lie. $50,000 in revenue last year, with a 20% uptick in the past 6 months. But as 9:30 ticked to 9:45, then 10 o'clock, a quiet unease settled over him. Marcus scanned the lobby. A middle-aged white guy in a polo shirt strolled in, chatted with Emily for a moment, and was ushered through a set of double doors without breaking stride, just 5 minutes from arrival to entry. Then a woman in a pencil skirt, her heels clicking with authority, swept in. Emily chirped, "Mrs. Langley, right this way," and she vanished into the offices too, her wait under 10 minutes. By 10:15, Marcus stood and approached Emily again, keeping his cool. "Hey, just checking. I've been here since 9:15 for my 9:30 with Linda Carver. Any idea how much longer?" Emily sighed, barely masking her irritation. "She's running behind. It happens. I'll let her know you're still here." "Thanks," Marcus said, returning to his seat. But her words rang hollow. Running behind didn't explain why others were breezing past him like he was a ghost. By 10:45, the lobby was nearly empty, yet his name remained unspoken. He watched a young couple check in and get called back in under 10 minutes, their laughter trailing behind them as they disappeared through the doors. The delay wasn't just time, it was a message, one he'd felt before. Growing up on the south side of Atlanta, where opportunity was a rumor and every win came with a fight, Marcus had learned to push past the sidelong glances and whispered doubts. But here, as the clock edged toward 11 o'clock, he wondered if Pinnacle Trust saw him as a risk before he even got a chance to speak. The first unexpected twist, a cry for help. At 11:10, just as Marcus debated walking out, his phone buzzed in his pocket. The screen flashed Jamal, a 17-year-old from his mentorship program. Marcus frowned, answering quickly. "Marcus," Jamal's voice was frantic. "The truck, it's trashed. Windows smashed, espresso machine wrecked. Cops are here. Say it was deliberate. Marcus's heart dropped like a stone. What? Who did this? Don't know. I came to open up this morning and found it like this. Can you come? Marcus gripped the phone, his mind spinning. The truck was Rise and Grind's soul. Not just a paycheck, but a beacon for kids like Jamal. Now it was in pieces? Right before the biggest meeting of his life? Jamal, listen up, he said, forcing calm into his voice despite the panic clawing at him. Let the cops handle it. I'm at the bank. Once this meeting's done, I'll head straight over. You good? I'm okay, but... Marcus, we need that truck, Jamal's voice cracked. I know. I'll figure it out. Stay calm. I'll be there soon. Marcus hung up, the weight of the news sinking in like a 50-pound bag of coffee beans on his shoulders. He wasn't just battling a delay now. He was fighting a crisis that could kill everything he'd built. Confronting the gatekeeper. At 11:15, Marcus overheard Emily on the phone. Yeah, just send Mr. Daniels straight in when he gets here. He's a priority. That was the breaking point. He didn't haul himself 15 miles across town to be dismissed. Marcus stood, smoothed his blazer, and marched past Emily's desk toward the double doors, ignoring her shout. Hey, sir, you can't go in there. The hallway inside buzzed with the faint hum of phones and keyboards. At the far end, a door bore Linda Carver in gold lettering. Marcus knocked once and stepped in. Linda, a woman in her late 40s with a severe bob and a tailored blazer, looked up from her desk, her eyes narrowing. Can I help you? Her tone was sharp as a blade. Marcus Evans, he said, standing tall. I had a 9:30 appointment. I've been waiting almost 2 hours. Linda pursed her lips, gesturing to a chair. Sit. Sorry for the delay. We've had a hectic morning. Marcus sat, but her apology felt like a flimsy paper towel in a rainstorm. He'd seen hectic. This wasn't it. I get that things get busy, he said, but I watched a dozen people come in after me and get called back. What's holding up my meeting? Linda's fingers tapped her desk, a flicker of unease crossing her face. Must have been a scheduling mix-up, she said, reaching for his file. Let's get to your application now. She opened his folder, skimming it with a detached air. Rise and Grind, mobile coffee, right? Revenue's decent, around $50,000 last year, but I'm worried about scalability. Franchising's risky, and we'd need more collateral to feel good about $75,000. Marcus leaned forward, his voice steady despite the storm inside. It's not just coffee. It's a mentorship program. We've trained 50 kids in 2 years. 80% of them have jobs now. Franchising scales that impact, not just profits. I've got testimonials, growth projections. Linda raised a hand, cutting him off. I see your passion, Mr. Evans, but passion doesn't guarantee repayment. I'm leaning toward a no. Before Marcus could push back, his phone buzzed again. A text from Jamal. Cops found a camera nearby. Think it's hired muscle. Marcus clenched his fist, anger surging like a 100-degree day. Someone was out to sabotage him, and he didn't have time for this nonsense. The second unexpected twist. A hidden betrayal. As Marcus opened his mouth to argue, his phone buzzed once more. This time, a call from an unknown number. He hesitated, then answered, keeping his voice low. Marcus Evans. Mr. Evans, this is Detective Harris, Atlanta PD, a gruff voice said. We've got a lead on your truck vandalism. Found a burner phone on the suspect. Traces back to a call from inside Pinnacle Trust Bank. Marcus froze, his blood running cold. Inside the bank? Who? We're narrowing it down, but it's someone with access to employee lines. Looks like they tipped off the hit to tank your meeting today. Stay put. We're en route. Marcus hung up, his mind reeling. Someone inside the bank had orchestrated this? His heart pounded as he pieced it together. A betrayal from within. Time to crush him before he could even pitch. He looked at Linda, her smug dismissal suddenly taking on a darker shade. Was it her? Or someone else pulling strings? He stood, his voice cutting through the silence. I just got a call from the cops. My truck was trashed this morning. Deliberate sabotage. And they say the order came from inside this bank. Linda's face went white, her hands trembling slightly. What? That's absurd. Is it? Marcus snapped, his calm breaking for the first time. I've been waiting 2 hours while someone here tries to bury me and my kid's future. Who's behind this? The explosive climax. Truth unveiled. Before Linda could respond, the door swung open and 3 figures strode in, their polished shoes clicking like thunder on the hardwood floor. Linda jolted upright, her cool facade shattering. Marcus turned to see 2 men and a woman in crisp suits, radiating authority. Board members, no doubt. The lead man, broad-shouldered with salt and pepper hair, stopped short when he saw Marcus. "Marcus Evans?" he grinned. "Didn't expect to see you here." Marcus stood, recognition flashing. "Mr. Tate, good to see you too." They'd met at a small business expo 6 months ago, where Marcus pitched Rise and Grind. Tate had been impressed, even asked for his card. Linda's face morphed. Shock, then panic. "You know each other?" Her voice was a squeak. "Met him at the expo," Tate said, shaking Marcus's hand. "What's going on?" Marcus laid it bare. "I'm here for a loan to franchise my coffee truck. It's a youth mentorship program. Been waiting 2 hours to pitch it. And just now, I found out my truck was vandalized this morning. Cops say the order came from inside this bank." Tate's brow shot up, turning to Linda. 2 hours? And now this? Explain." Linda fumbled, her voice shaking. "It's a scheduling mix-up. I didn't—" "Mix-up?" Diane Brooks, the woman beside Tate, cut in, her tone like steel. "Give me the file." Linda handed it over, her hands unsteady. Diane flipped through it, eyes scanning with surgical precision. Tate peered over her shoulder, nodding. "The coffee truck with the mentorship gig?" Diane asked Marcus. "Yes, ma'am," he said. "We've trained 50 kids, got 80% of them jobs. The loan scale's that statewide. 2 new trucks, more staff. But someone here wanted me out before I could even start." Diane's jaw tightened. She turned to Linda. "Why the delay?" "Financials are rock solid. $50,000 revenue last year, 20% growth. This fits our community goals perfectly." Linda stammered. "I was assessing the risk." "Risk?" Tate barked. "This is what we should be championing. And now sabotage from inside? What the hell's going on?" The room went dead silent. Linda's face flushed, sweat beading on her forehead. Marcus's phone buzzed again. Detective Harris. Suspects confessing. Points to an assistant manager, tipped off by a rival chain. Marcus held up the screen. "Cops just texted. It's an assistant manager here working with a competitor to trash my truck. They wanted me to fail today." Linda's eyes widened, her composure collapsing. I didn't know." "Didn't know?" Diane snapped. "Or didn't care. This is a disgrace." The game-changing turn. Tate's voice turned cold. "Linda, step out, now." Linda bolted, her heels clicking as she fled. Tate turned to Marcus, his tone softening. "You've got guts, man. We're approving your loan, $75,000 effective today, and we're throwing in $25,000 from our foundation to replace that truck, plus legal support to bury whoever did this." Marcus's chest swelled, a mix of disbelief and gratitude washing over him. Thank you. This means everything." Diane nodded. "We're not just funding you, we're partnering with you. Your program's the future. Let's get those kids rising statewide." Tate grinned. "You earned it. And whoever's behind this, they're done." As the board hashed out details, Marcus caught Emily hovering by the door. She'd slipped in during the chaos. When their eyes met, she gave a small, genuine smile, a quiet salute to his win. A new dawn stepping out of Pinnacle Trust, loan secured, a new truck funded, and legal backing in hand, Marcus felt like he could breathe again. The 2-hour wait hadn't crushed him. It had forged him into something stronger. The truck would be rebuilt, the culprits would face justice, and Rise and Grind would soar beyond Atlanta's borders. This wasn't just his victory. It was Jamal's, the kids', and a community's shot at a brighter tomorrow. Marcus Evans's story is a beacon of hope and determination. A black entrepreneur from Atlanta, he launched Rise and Grind, a mobile coffee truck aimed at more than profit. It was a mission to mentor underserved black teens, equipping them with skills and a sense of purpose. When he approached Pinnacle Trust Bank for a loan to grow his vision, he faced immediate resistance. Branch manager Linda Carver made him wait 2 hours, dismissing his plan as too risky, despite his strong financials, a clear act of unfair treatment. Then came a crushing blow. His truck was vandalized, a sabotage plot by an assistant manager tied to a rival chain. Just as despair loomed, the bank's board arrived. Having met Marcus at a prior expo, they saw his potential, approving a $75,000 loan, adding $25,000 to rebuild, and offering legal aid to fight the sabotage. Linda faced reprimand, and Marcus emerged victorious, his dream not just intact, but expanded. From Marcus's journey shines a profound lesson. Resilience, rooted in purpose and strengthened by community, turns obstacles into stepping stones. He didn't storm out after the delay. He stayed, trusting his worth. When sabotage hit, he didn't surrender. He persevered. The board's support wasn't random. It stemmed from relationships he'd built and the credibility he'd earned. This teaches us that life's barriers, whether bias, betrayal, or setbacks, test our resolve. The key is to hold fast to your why, nurture authentic connections, and push forward with patience. Marcus's purpose, to uplift youth, fueled his fight. His community opened the door to success. For us, it's a reminder. Adversity isn't the end. It's often the prelude to triumph if we refuse to break. How can we apply this today? In our lives, we all face Lindas, gatekeepers who doubt us, or unexpected sabotages that threaten our dreams. Maybe it's a job rejection despite qualifications, a personal goal stalled by doubt, or systemic hurdles that feel unfair. Marcus shows us how to respond. Stay patient but proactive. Don't let delays dim your drive. Build your tribe. Relationships can pivot your story when least expected. Anchor in purpose. Know why you're fighting, and let it carry you through. When challenges arise, see them as tests, not stop signs. Your breakthrough might be one bold step away, and every stand you take inspires others. If Marcus's triumph over injustice stirs you, join civil rights fight. We share stories of resilience and equality, amplifying voices that refuse to be silenced. Subscribe now to stay inspired and unite with a community championing justice. Your support powers this movement. Together, let's rise and fight for what's right.